You might find it strange, but here's a paradox to begin. In an era where we have more data than ever, where telescopes peer deeper into space and smartphones map our every heartbeat, millions still go hungry, millions remain unseen, and much of human consciousness continues to drift in shadow. We live in an age of astonishing illumination, and persistent darkness technology grants us unprecedented vision into the cosmos. Yet many cannot see the light of dignity in their own lives. This duality that we can chart galaxies while failing to chart our own compassion is the paradox that pulses behind everything I'm about to say. The stars that forged every atom in you also whisper a responsibility you did not ask for, but cannot escape. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the night sky above you is a vast rewriting of time. Every speck of light is not a distant point, but a messenger from the past. Some of those photons streamed across space for millions, billions of years, even before Earth existed. Now they reach your eyes, betray their journey in spectra, and tell you, you are ancient. In a very literal sense, you are older than your name, your nation, your culture. You are older than the mountains under your feet, for the atoms in those mountains were once part of cosmic furnaces. You are stardust made conscious. The story begins with the Big Bang, about 13.8 billion years ago. In that primordial fireball, the simplest elements, hydrogen and helium, were born. But heavier elements, ones we recognize in our own bodies, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron, did not emerge at first. They required a process, a crucible. They required stars. Think of a star as an alchemist. Under tremendous pressure and heat, it fuses lighter nuclei into heavier ones. Hydrogen into helium, helium into carbon, oxygen, neon, magnesium, and on up the chain. Each step releases energy, which is the light we see. That light is a triumph of structure over chaos. That light is the mathematic syntax of the universe broadcasting itself. In massive stars, the process continues until iron accumulates in the core. Iron is special. Fusing iron consumes more energy than it releases. The star can no longer hold up against gravity. The core collapses, and in that collapse, bang, a supernova erupts. In that violent death, the stars scatter their enriched guts across space, heavy elements forged under pressure, flung into the universe. Those heavy elements seed future generations of stars, planets, and life. Over billions of years, clouds of enriched gas collapse, planets form, new stars ignite, and one of those planets becomes a cradle for life. And on that life-bearing world, organisms evolve, cells divide, DNA replicates, and then you are born. You carry within you a library of cosmic history. The carbon in your cells, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, all these were once interiors of stars. Without stellar alchemy, you would not exist. When you feel small, insignificant in the sweep of existence, remember this: the cosmos is not a background against which you live. You are a thread woven into its fabric. From the cosmic scale, Earth is small, a mote of dust, orbiting an unassuming star in a corner of one galaxy among countless. But that perspective can be deceptive if used carelessly, because significance is not about size, it's about connection, interdependence, meaning born in the web of processes. Imagine a vast tapestry coded not in threads, but in interlocking relationships. Remove one thread, and the texture changes. Pull a few, and the pattern shifts. The stars forge the atoms in you. You, in turn, think, speak, act, and inherit earth and sky. To neglect your connection is to unravel a thread in the tapestry of existence. One of the great duties of being scientifically informed is humility, not arrogance. When you see Earth from space, not as politics, not as territory, not as lines on maps, but as a single, fragile biosphere, you see what astronauts call the overview effect. This shift in perception is not trivial. It's a reminder that divisions we create, nations, religions, races, are emergent illusions superimposed on a deeper unity. We know the chain: Big Bang stars, supernovae, planets, life-conscious beings. But between those points lie depths we are still exploring. How does a biological system transform atoms into thoughts? How do neurons fire to produce the sensation of red or the taste of salt? Neuroscience can trace pathways, measure electrochemical potentials, map brain regions. But the subjective experience itself remains mysterious. How does the collision of ions, the opening of channels, the flow of neurotransmitters become meaning? That gap, the gap between physical processes and qualitative experience, is sometimes called the hard problem of consciousness. We can explain the hardware, but the software of awareness feels deeper, more enigmatic. Yet, if you are made of star-forged atoms, then your awareness is the cosmos becoming aware of itself. And so, you are more than matter. You are matter reflecting on matter. You are not just an endpoint of cosmic processes, you are an intermediate, a dialogue between the universe and itself. Let's bring that perspective down to Earth, because cosmic thinking must also be human thinking. We live in times of contradiction. We can land probes on comets, sequence genomes, simulate universes in supercomputers. Yet we wage wars over ideas and resources, destroy ecosystems, forget neighbors. We taste the sweetness of stardust in our bones and yet act as though we come from separate tribes, not a shared heritage. When people ask, why care about the climate? Why fight injustice? Why help the stranger? The cosmic perspective gives a deeper answer, not just moral, but structural. If Earth is the only known cradle of life that supports consciousness, for now, then its flourishing is not optional. If we are made of star-forged atoms, then our fellow humans are made of the same cosmic legacy. To harm them is to harm our shared memory. Our technologies give us power, but power without wisdom is catastrophically blind. As we release forces once confined to stars, nuclear energy, genetic editing, climate engineering, we must match scale of capability with scale of care. Humans tell stories. We are meaning-making machines. We narrate our lives, construct mythologies, build moral frameworks. The cosmos may not need stories in a cold equation, but we need stories to live. They tie science to imagination, fact to value. When you tell a story that honors connection, you are contributing to the cosmic narrative. When you live a life of integrity, kindness, curiosity, you amplify coherence in the tapestry. In that way, you become more than a passive recipient. You become a narrator, a co-author of reality. Given the stardust in your veins and the universe in your thought, what do you owe? What does it mean to live responsibly? First, awareness, to pay attention, to hold wonder without escapism, to read science, but to feel beauty, to understand the fragility of life and the gifts embedded in the air, water, soil. Second, connection, to see your neighbor not as other, but as a fellow bearer of stars, to translate cosmic humility into social humility, to build relationships, institutions, systems that reflect interdependence rather than separation. Third, action. It's not enough to feel. You must act. In your community, your profession, your contributions to sustainability, justice, education, tiny gestures accumulate. A dropped seed, a helpful word, a decision to reduce waste. These are the molecules of change. Fourth, legacy. We are not infinite, but our actions echo beyond our lifespan. The future will carry forward what we plant now. Our children and their children will walk paths we carve, forge those paths wisely. As we push outward probing exoplanets, sending missions beyond our solar system, we carry with us not just instruments, but values. We will meet environments hostile to life. We may detect that life has arisen elsewhere, perhaps intelligence beyond ours. What mindset should we carry? Not conquest, but curiosity. Not dominion, but stewardship. Not extraction, but symbiosis. The cosmos doesn't owe us hospitality, but if we approach as humble guests, curious observers, respectful participants, we may foster a future of learning, exchange, and transformation. In that sense, the space race becomes more than prestige or resources. It becomes a test of maturity. Can we project empathy across cosmic scales? Can we treat planets, ecosystems, civilizations as subjects, not objects? We need an ethic not just for Earth, but for the universe. One informed by science, tempered by reflection, one that values life, curiosity, creativity, coherence. This ethic would demand that we not only reduce harm, but enhance possibility to protect, endangered species, cultivate diversity, preserve knowledge, expand kindness, to support education, scientific literacy, cross-cultural empathy, sustainable systems, to remember that the same atoms that made you will survive in the cycles of stars long after your body dissolves, and that your consciousness, brief though it is, can contribute to continuity. I do not promise utopia. The cosmos is neither gentle nor malicious. It may not care, but we do. And in that caring lies, meaning hope is not naive. Hope is anchored in the recognition that complexity can grow, that coherence can emerge, that lives matter. We see this in evolution itself, from single cells to multicellular organisms, from simple tools to telescopes. Complexity piles on complexity. Intelligence yields awareness. Awareness yields care. Care can yield transformation. You are one vector in that trajectory, one mind in that unfolding. When the first rockets pierced the sky, nations raced to place flags on the moon. Those missions were symbols of ambition, pride, engineering marvels. But they also carried a deeper significance: humanity reaching outward to learn more about itself. Today, we stand at a crossroads. We have the capability to visit moons of Jupiter, send probes to interstellar space, perhaps detect life around distant suns. But we also have the responsibility to heal Earth, to unlearn cruelty, to align our economy, culture, and technology with the living systems we depend on. The ultimate space race is not about flags or resources, it is about consciousness. It is about evolving from species that use the universe to species that care for, understand, collaborate with the universe. So let this be your challenge, your invitation. Let the knowledge of your stardust origin fill your heart with humility, not hubris. Let it connect you to all who share this inheritance. Let it move you to care, not abstractly, but in every act, every relationship, every choice you make. When you walk across a field, feel the atoms beneath your feet. When you breathe, taste the air that plants recycle, seas deliver, life sustains. When you speak, let kindness echo across the tapestry of being. You are ancient and you are still new. You are small in scale but vast in connection. You are born of stars, and now you have a chance to reforge the world. That is your story. That is our invitation. And that is the work that remains. When we say, you are made of stardust, it sounds poetic, almost too beautiful to be true. But it's not poetry, it's physics, written in the language of energy, gravity, and time. It's the oldest story ever told, but one that began long before storytelling existed. Imagine a young universe just a few 100 million years after the Big Bang. The first stars are igniting, piercing the darkness of a cosmos that until then had been nothing but cooling hydrogen and helium. Those first stars, astronomers call them population 3, were enormous, short-lived, and furious. They burned with such intensity that their lifetimes were measured not in billions of years, like our sun, but in mere millions. Think about that. They were cosmic matchsticks, brief, brilliant, but essential. Without them, the universe would have remained a dull hydrogen fog forever. It was their violent lives and deaths that manufactured the elements that make worlds possible. When they died, they did so spectacularly in supernova explosions that flung their innards across the cosmos, seeding the interstellar medium with heavy elements. From those ashes, new generations of stars were born, population 2, then population 1, each richer in elements than the last. Each generation added new ingredients to the cosmic recipe book: carbon, oxygen, silicon, iron, gold. And in one small corner of one galaxy, a cloud of that enriched gas began to collapse under gravity's patient pull. That collapse gave birth to a star, our sun, and to a swirling disk of dust and debris that would become its family of planets. If you could have seen that disk 4.5 billion years ago, it would have looked like chaos. A storm of rock and ice, collisions and heat, lightning flashing through a sea of dust. But from that chaos came pattern. From collision came cohesion. From random impacts came orbits. And from those orbits came a planet small, rocky, balanced just far enough from its star to hold liquid water. That's where your story truly begins. Not in a hospital, not in a womb, but in that disk of dust. Orbiting a newborn Sunday, the calcium in your teeth was forged in that early cosmic chemistry. The iron that carries oxygen in your blood was formed in the heart of a dying star. Even the oxygen you breathe, born from photosynthesis on Earth, owes its existence to earlier stars that manufactured it long before life existed to use it. When you inhale, you participate in a billion-year-old transaction. The breath entering your lungs is part of a cycle that began in the cores of suns. That air has traveled through volcanoes, oceans, forests, and lungs of countless creatures before reaching you. Every breath is a handshake with history. Now, it's tempting to romanticize this story, to stop at the wonder of it, but science demands something deeper. It demands understanding. So let's ask, how exactly did those stars make you possible? In the sun, hydrogen atoms collide at temperatures of 15 million degrees Celsius. Under those conditions, 4 hydrogen nuclei protons fuse to form one helium nucleus, releasing energy in the process. That energy radiates outward as light, heat, and the solar wind, the heartbeat of our solar system. But our sun is modest. It will never create elements much heavier than carbon or oxygen. For the rest, we need stars larger, denser, wilder stars that live fast and die young. Inside such stars, fusion progresses through stages. Helium fuses to carbon and oxygen. Then carbon fuses to neon, magnesium, and sodium. Each successive fusion requires higher temperatures, and each stage burns faster than the last. At the end of that chain sits iron, a dead end in nuclear terms. When a star's core fills with iron, it can no longer generate enough energy to resist gravity. In that moment, the balance between outward radiation and inward pressure collapses. The core implodes, rebounds, and explodes. As a supernova, that explosion is violent, beyond comprehension, releasing more energy in a few seconds than our sun will produce in its entire lifetime. And in that explosion, atomic nuclei collide with such ferocity that elements heavier than iron, copper, silver, gold, uranium are forged in an instant. Your wedding ring, your phone circuitry, the coins in your pocket, all of them are relics of those ancient cosmic cataclysms. There's a profound humility hidden in that knowledge, because it means nothing about you is truly yours. Every atom you call mine has belonged to stars, to oceans, to other creatures, to the Earth itself. You are, at best, a temporary custodian of cosmic matter, a brief arrangement of stardust that will one day be recycled again into something else. When you die, your atoms will not vanish. They will return to the Earth, perhaps to the atmosphere, perhaps someday back into space, and maybe, just maybe, some distant future star will form from the atoms that were once you, and around that star, perhaps another world will rise. And on that world, maybe someone else will look to their sky and wonder, what are we made of? And in that moment, your atoms will have answered. But this isn't just a story about matter. It's about what that matter means. If the same processes that make stars also make consciousness, then life is not an anomaly, it's a continuation. It's the universe's way of exploring itself, testing its own laws, seeking its own reflection. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are a participant in its evolution. When you learn, love, create, or explore, you extend the universe's capacity to understand itself. Every act of awareness is, in some sense, a cosmic act. The ancient philosophers intuited this long before physics confirmed it. Heraclitus said, the cosmos is a living fire, kindling and extinguishing in measure. And what he couldn't have known was that his living fire was not metaphor, it was fusion. Stars truly are fire, and their balance of creation and destruction is precisely what gives birth to us. In the East, philosophers spoke of unity, the idea that the self and the universe are one, that to know the self is to know the whole. Modern cosmology, through its own path, echoes that wisdom. It tells us we are physically, chemically, cosmically interwoven. Our separation is perceptual, Our connection is elemental, and yet, as a species, we often live as though we are the exception rather than the expression of the universe. We build economies that consume without renewal, ideologies that divide what nature joined, systems that reward ignorance over curiosity. But imagine what it would mean to truly live as stardust, aware of itself. To see the spark of cosmic origin in every person, regardless of origin, belief, or boundary. To treat the planet not as property, but as heritage. To act not as conquerors of the universe, but as its caretakers. That's not philosophy, it's survival. Because the same physics that binds your atoms to the stars also binds your fate to this fragile world. The Earth is not a backdrop to your story. It is the stage upon which the universe gets to experience itself as conscious, compassionate, and curious. And if we destroy that stage, the show ends early. If every element in our bodies comes from the hearts of long-dead stars, then every thought, every act of imagination is the universe repurposing its own materials to create ideas. The carbon that once drifted between galaxies now forms the neurons firing as you listen. You are literally thinking with ancient matter. That fact alone should make us gentle with one another. Because when two people argue, when nations fight, when a single human being harms another, the universe is, in a sense, turning against itself. We've always lived with paradox. The same species that map the genome also split the atom. We design instruments that can detect planets 1,000 light years away, yet sometimes fail to see the suffering next door. The same curiosity that drives exploration can, without wisdom, drive exploitation. And so the question arises again, what will we do with the awareness the cosmos has entrusted to us? When the Apollo astronauts turned their cameras back toward Earth, they captured more than an image, they captured perspective. A blue marble floating in endless night, wrapped in a thin film of air. That photograph condensed the entire history of astronomy into a single revelation. Everything we've ever known exists on that small sphere. The atoms forged in stars found a temporary home there, forming oceans and clouds, forests and lungs. And in that fragile arrangement, consciousness bloomed. From the moon, there are no borders. From the edge of the solar system, there are no nations, no races, no us or them. There is only one planet of stardust, thinking and arguing and loving and dreaming all at once. Every technological revolution we've made is, at its core, a reflection of natural law. The circuits in a computer mimic the firing of neurons. The internet is an echo of the cosmic web, the network of galaxies connected by dark matter filaments stretching across space. Our machines are the cosmos building tools to understand itself. But the mirror cuts both ways. When we fill that web with misinformation or cruelty, we distort the reflection. When we use technology to educate, to heal, to connect across distance, the universe sees itself more clearly. The same physics that made the first star also governs every byte of data, every photon in a fiber optic cable. Understanding that is what turns science from a profession into a philosophy. The energy that powers your home, the fuel that drives your car, the electricity that lights your screen, all are borrowed starlight. Coal and oil are the fossilized sunlight of ancient forests. Solar panels catch photons that began their journey in the sun's core 10,000 years ago. When we talk about renewable energy, we're not inventing a new source, we're remembering our oldest one. To live sustainably is to live in rhythm with the same cosmic processes that built us. If humanity learns that lesson in time, we might earn the right to keep evolving. If we forget, the universe will continue without us, as indifferent as gravity itself. Every generation believes it stands at the edge of history. Ours truly might. For the first time, we hold in our hands the capacity to destroy the conditions that made us, or to protect them. The same curiosity that opened the atom must now open empathy. The same precision that guided spacecraft to Mars must guide our ethics at home. The space race of the 21st century is not only about propulsion or engineering, it's about consciousness. Can we expand our sense of us as easily as we expand our reach? Can we understand that exploration is not about leaving Earth behind, but about bringing Earth's lessons wherever we go? Because wherever we go, we will take ourselves, our fears, our hopes, our stardust. From the perspective of a galaxy, human civilization is an instant, a brief flash of bioluminescence in the dark, yet that flash contains everything: art, laughter, discovery, forgiveness. If someday another intelligence looks back on this little world and finds the traces we left, let it see that for a moment the universe achieved coherence. That will be enough. When a rocket leaves Earth, it does more than defy gravity. It defies despair. Every launch is an act of collective faith. Faith that knowledge can elevate us, that cooperation can overcome chaos, that curiosity itself is a form of survival. Think about that first moment of ignition. A tower of metal and math built by hands of every color, powered by the chemistry of the universe itself, hydrogen and oxygen. Two elements born in the hearts of ancient stars, reunited here to lift us back toward the heavens that birthed them. It's poetic symmetry in motion, starlight returning to its source. The space race of the past was a competition. The one ahead must be a collaboration, because the next frontier isn't Mars or Europa or Proxima Centauri, it's maturity. It's learning how to be one species on one world, capable of surviving our own brilliance. For all our advances, the greatest discovery still waiting is each other. Empathy is the most advanced technology we will ever invent. If we can master that, the rest will follow: interplanetary travel, sustainable energy, perhaps even communication with other forms of life. But if we fail to see the universe reflected in one another's eyes, then all our telescopes and rockets will be nothing more than expensive mirrors for our confusion. The same physics that binds electrons to nuclei binds you to this planet, binds this planet to its star, and binds that star to the grand spiral of our galaxy. You were never separate from any of it. And so every act of ignorance is a small tear in that fabric. Every act of understanding mends it. The universe doesn't ask for worship. It asks for participation, for awareness that creation is ongoing, that the experiment continues, that every moment is a chance to add coherence to the chaos. One day, the sun will exhaust its hydrogen fuel. It will expand into a red giant, swallowing Mercury and Venus, and perhaps brushing against Earth. By then, humanity, or whatever descendants of us remain, will have either perished or moved beyond this cradle. And if we have survived, it will be because we learned something fundamental, that the same stars that gave us life also taught us impermanence. And that impermanence, properly understood, is not a threat, it's an invitation to build, to learn, to love fiercely in the finite. So, the next time you feel small, remember, you are not a speck in the universe. You are a way for the universe to feel its own vastness. You are not just the product of evolution. You are evolution aware of itself. You are not just made of stars. You are what the stars dreamed of becoming. When you look up at the night sky, don't just see distance, see connection. Don't just see history, see possibility. Because those stars aren't shining to make you feel insignificant. They're shining to remind you that you belong. And maybe that's the greatest truth ever discovered. That the atoms that once burned in stars are now composing symphonies, writing poetry, curing diseases, raising children, and wondering why they exist at all. The cosmos doesn't need us, but for a brief and wondrous time, it has us. And that is enough reason to take care of this world, to treat every sunrise as a cosmic inheritance, and every act of kindness as a form of physics, binding us to everything that ever was and everything that ever will be. So live well, live curiously, live as though every heartbeat were a pulse from the beginning of time, because in truth, it is. The stars that forged you are still at work. Every second, in every corner of the cosmos, new suns ignite, scattering new matter, new potential. Somewhere, the carbon that will one day form another heart is being born in a furnace of light. Creation never stopped, it just changed scale. And here, on this small world, that same process continues in us. Every child who learns, every scientist who asks why, Every artist who turns curiosity into color, these are small acts of nucleosynthesis, the making of new light from old material. Civilizations, like stars, live and die by the balance between pressure and gravity, between the outward force of imagination and the inward pull of fear. When imagination wins, we expand. When fear wins, we collapse. The choice is constant. The universe is watching what we will become. The next generation of explorers will not measure distance in kilometers or parsecs, but in understanding. Their frontier is empathy. Their vehicle, education. Their fuel, wonder. If we teach them that science and compassion are not rivals but reflections of the same curiosity, then maybe centuries from now, when the light of our age reaches distant worlds, it will tell a story worth remembering. That once a species of stardust learned how to care for the place that made it, and in doing so, kept the cosmos shining just a little longer. Night will fall again. The stars will come out, indifferent yet intimate, and you will see them as our ancestors once did, points of light scattered like questions across the dark. You'll remember that those lights are not symbols, they are places. Each one a story still unfolding, each one a forge where the universe rehearses the miracle that became you. Tomorrow, sunlight will spill through the trees, warm the water, power the circuits of cities. You will breathe it in, unaware that the atoms carrying that warmth were born before time had a name. The stars do not demand gratitude, but awareness is a kind of thanks. So let the light remind you. You are the continuation of that ancient fire. Walk gently, think boldly, speak truth, as if the cosmos itself were listening, because in a way, it is. And when the night returns and the stars appear once more, look up not for answers, but for belonging, because you are home. But before we end this journey beneath the stars, let's return not outward, but inward, because awareness of the cosmos means little if it does not transform how we live here now together. Every civilization that ever rose looked up and wondered, what's out there? But the civilizations that endured also asked, what's in here? Inside the human heart lies the same physics that governs galaxies. Attraction and repulsion, creation and collapse, heat and light. Love and fear, two fundamental forces shaping every orbit of our history. When empathy expands, civilizations grow brighter. When fear contracts, they darken. The equations of our future depend not just on what we know, but on what we choose to feel. Science gives us the tools to build rockets. Wisdom gives us the reason to launch them. Technology can extend life. Only morality can ensure it's worth living. And knowledge, stripped of compassion, is like a star without fusion, brilliant for a moment, then gone cold. We are entering what may be the most consequential century in the history of our species. Artificial intelligence now writes, learns, dreams. Biotechnology edits the code of life. Climate systems tremble under human influence. The decisions we make in the next few decades will echo for millennia. And so, the question is no longer can we? The question is, should we and why? The answers will not come from algorithms or laboratories alone. They must come from conscience. That quiet gravity of the soul that tells us we are part of something larger and therefore accountable to it. Maybe that is the true fifth dimension. Not time, not space, but awareness. Awareness of consequence. Awareness of connection. Awareness that every action, like every photon, travels outward forever, shaping the universe it touches. To live in that dimension is to live awake. It is to realize that kindness is not weakness, but physics, a force that reduces entropy in the social universe. That truth-telling is not rebellion, but alignment with reality itself. And that awe, the feeling that silences words and quickens breath, is not escape from reason, but its highest form. For when reason meets wonder, progress becomes wisdom. Someday, long after our species is gone, light from our sun will still travel outward, carrying traces of everything we were. Encoded in that light will be the signatures of our atmosphere, the fingerprints of our chemistry, the echoes of our civilization. And maybe, somewhere in the deep future, another intelligence will read that light and know that once the universe dreamed in the shape of humanity. So write well into that light. Let your deeds be the photons that endure. Let your life be the spectrum through which future eyes might glimpse what we stood for. Because in the end, legacy is not about monuments, it's about the coherence you add to existence. The universe began in chaos, but through stars, through planets, through life and mind, it has been slowly learning to organize, to self-reflect, and now, through you, it has learned to care. That perhaps is the ultimate revelation of the fifth dimension. That awareness is the universe's way of loving itself. So tonight, when you look up, don't ask the stars for meaning. Give it to them, for you are not just in the universe. You are the universe, briefly awake, trying to understand its own eternity. And in that briefness, in that fragile, luminous moment, you are magnificent. So tonight, when you step outside and tilt your head toward the heavens, pause. Pause and remember, every star you see is not a distant fire in an indifferent void. It is a mirror reflecting not just light, but possibility. The universe is speaking. It whispers in the fusion of atoms, in the orbit of planets, in the pulse of your heart. It speaks in every pattern of clouds, in every current of ocean, in every flicker of consciousness. It speaks in the fact that you exist at all. And what does it ask of you? Not heroism, not sacrifice for spectacle, not grand monuments to pride. It asks only for participation, for awareness, for care, for courage, the courage to notice, to act, to love, to create. Because to live as stardust is to live deliberately. To breathe is to honor billions of years of cosmic labor. To walk is to move in the footsteps of atoms that have traveled across galaxies. To think is to let the universe contemplate itself. And to act, this is the greatest gift. To shape a world worthy of the matter that formed you. To leave behind a story of coherence rather than chaos. To leave behind traces of kindness, understanding, and wonder. Imagine, for a moment, the first humans staring at the same stars we see now. They could not know the physics of fusion, the chemical alchemy of life, or the DNA of their descendants, and yet they felt awe. They asked questions. They imagined futures beyond themselves. That is our inheritance. The universe has been patient billions of years, patient waiting for matter to become aware, waiting for stardust to reflect on itself, waiting for conscious hands to reach outward and upward. We are that reflection. We are that reaching. And now, more than ever, we must rise to the responsibility that our very existence demands. When rockets pierce the sky, they are not just metal and fuel, they are poetry, science, and hope fused together. When a child learns the laws of nature, they are touching the mind of the cosmos itself. When you hold another human being's hand, when you protect life, when you create, when you dream, you are performing acts of cosmic significance. Because the stars that forge you are still burning. And in your awareness, in your choices, in your care, the fire continues. So step into your life as a conscious universe. Step into your relationships as a galaxy of connection. Step into your work, your creativity, your love as acts of stardust making meaning. And when the night falls, when the stars reappear, when the universe seems infinite and you feel small, remember this: smallness does not negate significance. Your atoms were born in fire. Your mind is a mirror of the cosmos, and your actions ripple outward, shaping the story of existence. The cosmos doesn't need us, but for this brief, luminous moment, it has us. And that is enough. Enough to care, enough to create, enough to be magnificent. So live like the stardust you are. Think like the universe is listening. Act as if tomorrow depends on you, because it does. The stars forged you. The earth holds you. The future awaits you. And in that alignment, in that awareness, you are home. And yet, even as the stars remind us of our origins, the earth reminds us of our duty. Every river that flows, every gust of wind, Every grain of sand beneath your feet is part of a system older than any human institution, older than any law, older than any empire. To live in harmony with that system is not merely wisdom, it is survival. The same forces that shape galaxies shape societies. Pressures that compress, expansions that release, balance that sustains. And just as a star must fuse or fade, we too must act, or we risk the collapse of our own civilization under the weight of ignorance and indifference. Look around you. The technology we wield, the knowledge we possess, the wealth we accumulate, they are tools of creation or instruments of destruction. Every choice, every action, every word, every thought is a photon sent into the future, traveling across time, influencing events beyond our sight. Imagine that. The decisions you make today, small as they may seem, will echo like light through generations. Your kindness may ignite compassion where none existed. Your curiosity may spark discovery that reshapes understanding. Your courage may protect life that would otherwise vanish. And when doubt creeps in, when despair whispers that one life, one person, one voice is insignificant, remember this: you are made of atoms that survive supernovae. You carry in your veins the material of distant stars, forged in the crucible of cosmic fire. You are, in the grandest sense, the universe becoming conscious of itself. Think of the Apollo astronauts again, looking back at Earth from the moon. That fragile blue sphere, suspended in silence, contained every human story up to that point, every victory, every failure, every act of love and cruelty. No flag, no boundary, no ideology could contain its significance. It was a revelation of unity, a call to stewardship, and it remains a call for us today. The challenge of our age is not simply to explore space, it is to expand the boundaries of empathy, to chart the unmeasured territories of human kindness, to cultivate a civilization capable of sustaining life on Earth and beyond. Our rockets may leave the atmosphere, but our ethics must travel farther still. For the first time in history, a species has the power to shape not only its own future, but the trajectory of life on this planet. The choices we make in energy, in climate, in social justice, in science, in education, these are the forces that will determine whether the story of life continues to unfold or whether it collapses into silence. And yet, there is hope, because hope is not passive. It is awareness turned into action. It is the recognition that even a single photon can illuminate darkness across light years. Even a single voice, when joined with others, can alter the course of history. Even a single life, lived consciously, can make the universe a more coherent place. Saw life deliberately? Let every thought, every gesture, every invention be a reflection of the cosmic fire that created you. Honor your origins, cherish your connections, embrace your responsibilities. Be bold in learning, generous in compassion, relentless in curiosity. Look up at the stars, but do not forget the soil beneath your feet. The same physics that binds galaxies binds your bones, your blood, your being to this world. Take care of it, protect it, reverence it. It is your cradle, your classroom, your legacy. And when the night comes again, as it always will, look up not in fear, not in longing, but in recognition. See yourself reflected in the cosmos. See the history that made you, the forces that sustain you, and the possibilities that await. You are not merely small. You are not merely fleeting. You are a way for the universe to know itself, a fleeting spark in the cosmic flame, a story in the grand narrative of existence. The stars that forged you still burn. The earth that cradles you still turns. And the future, though unwritten, is waiting for your light. So shine. In your science, in your art, in your love, in your courage. Shine not for ego, not for reward, not for recognition, but because you can. Because the universe, having made you, entrusted you with consciousness, creativity, and care. And in that trust lies the most profound responsibility you will ever hold. You are stardust made aware of itself. You are the cosmos in miniature. You are ancient, yet entirely new. You are small, yet vast in connection. You are here now, And this is your moment. Live it with wonder. Live it with integrity. Live it with love. Because the stars that watched your birth are still watching. And through your awareness, they shine once more. And that, my friends, is the story that never ends. And now, as the night deepens and the stars blaze in silent testimony, pause one last time. Feel the weight of billions of years in your chest, the atoms that survived supernovae, the light that traveled across galaxies, the molecules that became you. Feel the pulse of Earth beneath your feet, the breath of oceans in your lungs, the cycle of life flowing through every living thing. Know this, you are not separate. You are not incidental. You are the universe made conscious, a fleeting, luminous bridge between the fire of creation and the infinity of possibility. What you do matters. How you love matters. How you care matters. Each act of understanding, each gesture of kindness, each spark of curiosity is a note in the symphony of existence. And together, these notes weave a harmony strong enough to echo across time, across generations, across worlds yet to be born. So live like the stardust you are. Walk gently, act boldly, dream widely, and love fiercely. For in your awareness, the universe becomes aware of itself. In your compassion, it learns to care. In your courage, it finds hope. One day, long after we are gone, the stars will continue to burn, the galaxies will continue to spin, and somewhere, perhaps in another corner of space, perhaps in a mind yet unborn, the story of existence will carry on. And in that eternal unfolding, a truth remains. The cosmos has given you this brief, radiant moment. It is yours to live, yours to honor, yours to illuminate. So stand beneath the night sky, look up at the stars that forged you, and whisper a promise not to the universe, but to yourself. I will live with wonder. I will live with courage. I will live with love. I will be the light I was born to be. Because in the end, that is all any of us can do. That is enough. And with that, you are home.